What's up, YouTube? This is Red Devilosa from Red Devilosa Reviews. I'm here with my friend from the YB podcast, Ed, aka Shaq. What's up, Shaq?
Oh, good morning, Joe.
Yeah, it's pretty early in the morning, but we are here to talk about Disney's 23rd film, Soul, directed by Pete Docter and written by him as well. Pete Docter has been around with Pixar since Toy Story, so 25 years, and this is the fourth film he has written and directed for Pixar. The other three include Monsters Inc., Up, and Inside Out. That's a very good track record. Um, Before we get started on Soul, if you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, you can subscribe to the channel for more of that content. Now, Shaq, how did you feel about Soul?
I think it's I don't think it's the best Pixar movie ever. I think it's like a top five or let's just say top 6 or 5 Pixar movie ever. Like,
Yeah, Pixar has a lot of bangers out there. I mean, there are some misses with Cars and all that, good Dinosaur, but like there are some really good Pixar movies like Toy Story, Incredibles, Finding Nemo,
like
Coco. There's a lot of good ones.
the only movies I put Coco over this, I put Incredibles over this, I put Up over this, and I put Toy Story. One of the I think it's either I like Toy Story 2 more than Toy Story 1. I put Toy Story, but like this is like a 5. So like this is like so
Yeah,
I put like
it is. I think it is up there. Um, so yeah, so the film stars Jamie Foxx as Joe Gardner, who is a jazz musician who has this big break, and on the day he's about to get this big break, he dies, which is something different for a Disney movie that we're not really used to. He is transported to the great beyond, but because he doesn't want to die, he falls into what's called the great before, where like all the souls like that are becoming, like all the souls like they basically are learning how to be souls, so that when they go to Earth, they'll have their own identities and stuff like that. So he goes there and he's told to train another soul played by Tina Fey, called Soul Number 22. Um, I think in terms of voice acting, Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey were really good. Um, so what did you think about I guess Joe Gardner as a character?
Joe Gardner as a character. They right, they built him up to be someone that basically almost like a like at least that's how he thinks of himself, and that's how his mom thinks of him, because it's like his mom's like, you need to take this teaching job, it's secure or whatever. And we're gonna talk about later on in the movie what I think like his passion was, because he's just assumed that he was always born with the inhibition to be a musician, but like
Yeah.
as if you watch the movie, that's not it. Like all happens, like life happens.
Yeah,
The life.
so this is a spoiler review. It's been on Disney Plus since Christmas. There's no additional payments like Mulan, so if you have Disney Plus, you can watch Soul for free, basically.
It's way. I like you could pay for this movie and it would make sense. Like Mulan
Yeah,
was terrible, but
Mulan
like
was worth the money, but yeah. Um, yeah. So they kind of like explain the soul world, like how there's all these other souls that needs to get training. They need to get like all these key things on the badge, and they also need to find something called the spark, which is what is basically like what they're into, like their hobby or the thing that they'll be good at. But we find out that that's not really what it's meant to be. But we'll get to that part a little later. Uh, so number 22, she has been there for a long, long time. She's been trained by a lot of great souls, such as like Abraham Lincoln, Muhammad Ali, Mother Teresa, and like all these other great souls. And everybody has had an issue with 22 because she always thought that Earth is like stupid and there's nothing cool about it. There's like, what's the point? So she never had that understanding about what what's so great about Earth. And obviously, like what I really like about Joe Gardner in particular is his arc and how he completely changes from kind of like, I guess like the best way to say is like egotistical, but not like it's not super. It's not crazy. It's like, but it was always like me, me, me. I got to get back to Earth. I got to do this. I have to do that. It's about me and all that. And then eventually, his relationship with 22, it progresses to the point where he starts to realize the errors of his ways. And yeah, they had they went into this thing called the zone, which is basically like sometimes when you're fascinated in doing something, or like you're like really into something, you start to feel like what's it
So,
called, the zone.
let me. So
But
this is
yeah,
how they explained it. They said that when you're extremely passionate about your thing, like your spark, right, and you get in the zone, it's like a place where mind, body, soul are connected as one, and it's
yeah,
like basically how they describe Joe Gardner. They describe it because he was in the classroom. Like we first see this when he's in the classroom teaching, and I guess his students can't get like a scale or something down, so he starts playing and he does the scale, but then he goes into it, and it's like you see like this like a kind of like blue magenta-ish like haze,
yeah,
and like the notes are like it was really like it was really artistic. It was like kind of like it's like a
yeah,
smooth jazz like tone, and it's like they had all these people like they had like and then 22 was talking about how she messes with teen like this was another thing like the jokes in the movie
yeah.
or like
We are NBA fans, so that there was a joke here that was
so
pretty
so
funny.
like
Why don't you set it
they,
up?
so one of the jokes is she's fucking with this actor. She does a Romeo Juliet actor. She throws something and she forgets her line. Like she's in the zone. She's like an actor. She forgets her line. And then she says this one line that made me burst out laughing just for the fact that it's true. It's not that it was extremely funny. It was that it was relevant. She's like, I've been messing with this team for years. And then like it's like a basketball player. He's like in the zone and he's about to go for like a dunk, and she like knocks him out the zone, and he's like, and it's 3, 2, 1. The Knicks about to score, and then like he gets rim stuck, and I'm just like, is this not what the Knicks are? The
And the
Knicks.
Knicks lose again.
that
That
was,
was
it was the
hilarious.
funniest shit. It was, the Knicks. I think the Knicks have a winning record so far. It's like 8 games, but it's like
Yeah,
the
they're
fact
doing
that
well now.
the fact that Pixar has seen that the Knicks have been shitty for a minute is actually hilarious.
It's not far out of the question,
Oh,
but
and
yeah,
another thing is the
uh, yeah,
the real world. The real world. It takes place in New York. So like,
yeah. And I think they did a really good job with establishing New York. And later down the film, I was a little concerned about what they were going to do, like how when eventually when they get from the zone and they find this like thin spot so that Joe can like jump down into onto Earth, and he lands in the body of the cat, and 22 goes into the body of himself, Joe. I was a little concerned about like what they were going to do with that, because like it was like Joe's in a cat's body and 22 in a human's body. Like I was a little concerned about, will this be too kiddie, or will it be too like immature and all that, because like I think they were doing a pretty good job up until that point. But then when we got to
but then
scenes,
so
but wait, 1 second. But when we got to scenes like, especially the barber scene, or like when whenever like Joe is like, whenever 22 in Joe's body is like listening to like Connie's trombone solo, or like the barbershop, especially that scene was really good, and it got me back in, like, if that makes sense. What were you saying?
it was also the biggest thing for me was when he finally confronts his mom, and it's like he's
Yeah,
telling 22 what to do or whatever, and she's like saying it in the third person, which is kind of funny, but it's kind of not, but it's like a real life shit where it's like she's like I just want you to be. He's like he basically just comes out like I just want you to be proud of me, like I just want this for me, like,
yeah,
and she says that I want security for you, like. Your dad previously died because we know that he got older. It wasn't like he's got older. He ended up dies. It was like he's like I
it
just
was
want you
like
to be safe.
he was a musician of his own, but like he just wasn't like, it didn't really
Yeah,
amount to
yeah.
anything super crazy for his life. So
And
she just wanted the best for him. So yeah.
and then they had this falling out where it's all like, but dad was able to follow his dream. He's so like he was only able to do that because I had the sewing shop because his mom was like a small business owner. She owned a sewing shop, and he's like, this is what put food. She basically said like, this was what put food on the tables when he was off chasing his dream to be a musician. So she
Yeah,
kind of already known what being a musician, like the struggling musician, like yeah, you can make a living, but a lot of them like you're like struggling until you make
Right.
it, and even
Right.
when you make it, you can still struggle. So I think that was a good that was a good that was a good dialogue. It was also doing these things like the barbershop and the thing. You find out how like kind of self absorbed um which call or
Joe
like
was.
Joe is like, or like how deep he is in the thing because he's like basically the barber, right? Because which we call uh Joe just assumes that his spark is to cut hair or like or whatever, right? But then
Yeah.
apparently the barber, I forgot what his name was, has a whole like backstory and like how he that's not what he wanted to do, how he was in the military, he ended up having
He
kids,
wanted to
like
be a
stuff
vet.
like this.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a vet, and like this just what happened because this had to put food on the table, and he started to really enjoy it. So that kind of like it
Yeah.
foreshadowed for what the ending of the movie was going to be.
Yeah, and like what I like about this movie in particular. Now, like one thing that I was saying compared to other Pixar movies is like I feel like other Pixar movies are better at like making it for kids but then also for adults. Like there's like things that you can like as a kid but then you appreciate it more when you're an adult, if that makes sense. I think like some of the stuff in this movie in particular is like it was pretty heavy-handed in like themes about like the life and the purpose of life and what is the point of life and all that. And I feel like that kind of stuff can go over the kid's head like when they watch it. And again, there's nothing wrong with that because like again, I appreciate it a lot more now that I'm like 20 years old. But like if I'm just thinking like as a kid, I probably would not understand a lot of the themes of like the like the purpose of life and how we want to do something but sometimes we just don't, it just doesn't happen to us, like you know what I mean. Like I feel like this wouldn't probably be a movie that I would understand fully when I'm like 10 or 12, if that makes sense.
And then I feel like I don't know if Pixar's been doing this, but like I feel like their best movies like they focus on like an aspect of life like purpose
Yeah.
or like what you call up was like what you call up was kind of like moving on or something
Right.
like that, and like Toy Story is like kind of like change like just in general like through all
Change,
three movies.
friendship, and yeah.
Yeah. So like I feel like the sole thing of like what is your purpose? I feel like that's like I just like it's a big enough thing, and like it can be perceived as many ways of what his purpose was.
Exactly.
I guess it's gonna go into like the ending, but like I kind of felt like his purpose all along was like teaching, and it's like
Right.
because like even when it's like 22 is in the earth and she's learning about like pizza and he's like describing pizza to her like because there's a scene in the Soul World where he's describing pizza to her and he's like I was like I've never had that, I've never eaten it, I can't taste, I don't have a body, taste is for the body, like she makes like this whole thing where it tastes for the body,
Right.
and it's like when they finally first drop in New York City, it's like she's frantic because it's the first time she's being in Earth, and her her perception of Earth is just a bad place, bad shit stuff happens or whatever, and he's
Right.
like able to lure her out with like a piece of pizza, and it's like
Yeah. And then we'll get to the ending in a second, but like before we get there, so um they eventually they do get Joe back the into the real world, into his own body, and he plays his solo with Dorothea, who is played by Angela Bassett. And he does his piano stuff. They do the gig, and it's really good, and it's really impressive, and everybody loves it. And then all of a sudden, uh, when he thinks about what happened, he realizes that he was not satisfied with how like this all happened. Like he just felt like everything that happened up until that point, like he felt like this would be the big change that will guide him in for the rest of his life. But then he gets to the point, like I guess, like this is where some people feel in their own jobs, maybe like where we do something and we just think about like, is this something that I actually want to do for the rest of my life, or is this something that I enjoy doing, but like I don't have as much connection as I thought I do? And he starts to doubt himself about all this. Like, like we got to this point, and now that we're here, it's not as exciting or as anticipating as what I thought it was. So I thought that was really good. Then she says like the story about like the fish in the water, uh, but like
That was
it's
kind
in
of
the ocean.
confusing.
Yeah,
I thought the
I
line
get
before that
I
was
get the point of it, but like it was a little
yeah.
it was a bit
I thought
wordy.
the
But
line
yeah,
I thought the line before that when she's like when he's like he's like is that it? He's like yeah, and it's like so what do we do next week? You just come back and you do it again, and the next
yeah,
show after that, and it's like basically it's like how he thought his life was monotonous before with like being a teacher. It's like going to be even
uh,
more, and it's like at the climax, and at least like because how he even gets this opportunity is because one of the well because he taught like an at-risk kid named Curly before, and Curly became a drummer, and he's like a drummer in this jazz band. So they were kind of signaling to like his teaching, like the fact that he's able to like take this at-risk kid in New York and then make him a jazz band. And the same with the girl with the trombone when she has the trombone. So like the
yeah,
fact that which you call just playing isn't enough for him, which I guess he thought it was. I guess that was like the big thing. And then also what he did to get there, like because in order to get back in his body, he basically had to like destroy 22's courage and emotion because 22 thought that like
right.
she was like maybe my spark is like looking at clouds or like eating pizza or like just and he was like disregarding like he basically disregarded
Like
everything
that's
like she
just stuff we
experienced on
do,
Earth.
but we don't. There's not.
Like
That's not a
like
purpose in life. Yeah,
that's not like a purpose in life, but like I thought like her purpose, like her purpose in life, maybe her purpose in life was just living. Like, cause it showed like those flashbacks of like her eating pizza and the little flower thing, the little I don't know what
that
it's called.
that scene in the apartment with him like taking all the stuff out of his pocket from the day, and then he's just thinking about all of these like it's wordless. There's no words. There's no dialogue. It's just music, and it's just a bunch of flashbacks of like the things in his life that he starts to appreciate, like eating a pizza, spending time with his dad, teaching at school, having his feet get touching the waves from the ocean, and all this other. It's wordless dialogue, and it's just so good. Like I really like that moment. And then he starts playing the piano in the background. The music is really good, and yeah, I really like that scene where he starts to connect with everything that he once like probably overlooked, but then now it's like now that he's had a taste of what soul what his soul is like, he can appreciate some of the little things that he probably missed when he was growing up and all that. So I really like that scene. For me,
Would you think about
the one, huh?
was it? Would you
Huh?
think about his redemption? Are we gonna get into the redemption or whatever? Where
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it.
I think
Okay.
the only scene that I wasn't like from the third act, the only scene that I wasn't really keen on was so in the zone area, there's like all these like shadow monsters, I guess, like they're basically like
Oh,
souls
souls
that are like
without a purpose or whatever.
yeah, souls without purpose. Like they're constantly addicted to whatever they need to get back to. Like their desires are so strong that they're lost in their train of thought. I guess if that's the way to say it. So 22, since she technically lived on Earth, she gets obsessed with the fact that like she's not good enough. She starts to take everything that everybody's ever said about her very personally. That she'll never be a good human. She'll always be this trash person and all that. She'll never understand life. So she gets obsessed with that mindset. So she becomes one of those shadow monsters as well. And Joe is trying to. So after Joe is playing the piano, he gets into the trance, which gets him back into the soul world. And he confronts 22, and he tries to give her back the badge, but she wouldn't take it. And then all these like other shadows, like from the previous mentors, they were like saying everything that they've ever said to her. And then eventually he gives her the helicopter blade, and then that gets her to stop. Um, and then he gives her the badge. And for me, like that was the only scene I wasn't really up to. Like it was good, but like I feel like it could have been better. Like that was the climax where he gets her to calm down. That wasn't like the it wasn't that it wasn't great. It was just good to me that particular scene.
But I mean, like when you have a movie with like, I feel like this movie had really good, like, really amazing scenes. Like the
Yeah,
instance where he, like I really enjoyed the scene where at the beginning of the movie where he's first introduced to jazz, and it's
Yeah,
like he's describing it like, and he's like he walks down into the jazz like basement with his dad, and the guy's just on the piano, and he's just like looking at
yeah,
the
the flashback.
fingers, and
Yeah,
it's like that flashback is really good. Because
it
it's
was
like
good.
that really is what it's like with like certain things. Like I don't know about you when it's like when I first watched a basketball game. Like I'm not that like I'm good, but I'm not that good. But like it's like when you first see what you want to do or like what you love, it's like it is kind of like that where it's like even like the small idiosyncrasies of like the player. He was like watching like everything. And he's like the whole thing is like he didn't even want to be there, like because his dad was like almost like forcing him to like come listen to like real
Right,
music
right.
or whatever.
It's just like
Like
once
so like
he saw someone else doing it, then he really appreciated it. Yeah,
because I
yeah.
know like so you play like the violin. Was that like it for you, like for you the violin, or do you just like do it because or
For me, like I've been playing violin. Really, like I wanted to make my parents proud, like at first, but then like eventually I grew to like playing the violin and then love playing the violin. So like it did gradually grow for me, but like I wasn't forced to do it. I just chose to do it, and then I eventually grew to like it. But yeah, I do know some people who are like that. Like they don't want to do music until they get a taste of it, and then they start to appreciate music even more. And I really like I think because like apparently the original idea for Soul was that Joe Gardner would be a doctor before the jazz musician part, and I think they did a better choice with Soul because I mean with a jazz musician because like I feel like a doctor and Soul. I don't know how much you can really do this types of connections with all that. I think jazz musicians like they're usually known to be the soulful players of music, so it does make sense in that regard. Um, but yeah, like in terms of the third act, I really love the wordless dialogue, the montage of everything that he appreciates in life. I wasn't a huge fan of the climax where he gets 22 to stop. Again, like it was good. It wasn't memorable too much to me. But everything after that, like he gives her the badge, and then they jump into the Earth portal, and 22 says
and
like
in that line where he's all like when she said like I'm scared, and he's all like I'll go with you as far as I can, like that
yeah,
line where it's like because and it's like
that was really
so it's
good.
basically like at the beginning of the movie, like he's trying to like get like he's when he's like brash and he's trying to get back into Earth. Basically, like once you get your like badge, and basically there's like a hole, and you jump towards Earth, and you like become a child or a baby or something, and you're born in a hospital, something like this, right? Like your
Yeah,
soul is born on Earth, and it's like basically like after already experiencing Earth, and after like him saving her from like the lost soul, she's like I don't know, but it's she's like she basically like she's very like concerned, right? And it's like he
yeah.
basically assures her that I'm gonna be with you as long as I can be. Like kind of like so that's why I feel like I feel
Yeah,
like that's when he I feel like that's like the full circle where it's all like
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
support you even if it doesn't help me, even if I don't need anything in my life to be fulfilled. I'm gonna help you as much as I can. That's why I really like that line.
yeah. I love that line. It was really good, and just seeing the souls jump, and then all of a sudden you see Joe starting to back up, and 22 still moving forward. That was really good. And then the next scene you see, he's accepting to go to the great beyond. So
Yeah.
he's basically accepting death at this point, which is again really powerful for a Disney movie. But
A kids movie. And then you
yeah,
hear the
and
line
then
is all
like
like
yeah,
there's so many
then
like
yeah. So they have like
the
these
people that like I don't
yeah.
know what they're called, but like the people that
They're
oversee
just called
Soul World, they're like
Jerry's and Terry, basically. But like
Jerry's.
yeah, I got to commend the art for the those people, those spirits. I guess they were called Jerry's. So like I thought it was really cool, like putting 2D figures in the 3D world. I thought that was cool art. So she asked him. Well, she tells him that like because of what you did with 22, we're going to let you uh, live your life again. And then he says, "All right." And then she asks him like, "What are you going to do with it now?" And he just thinks about it and it's like, I don't know, but whatever I do, I know I'll live every minute of it, and
But like, man,
and that's how
so
that's how it ends.
Like, and
Yeah,
that's what I like about it, because it didn't
it's
like
open
say like
ended.
because
Yeah,
like before that she's like she like 22's had this many people and you're the only one that was able to get her a spark, and like basically I thought it was gonna move towards teaching, but when he just says that I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do it, like I'm gonna live it like to the fullest or whatever. It's like you can
yeah,
think that for that's like it doesn't just be for teaching or whatever. You can make that about
exactly.
anything like that. Like,
That's what I really appreciate about it. It's like it was open ended. Like, so we don't know what happened to 22. We don't know where she went. I assume it was Asia because like it was zooming in on Asia. So I think she's there. And then like we don't know what happened with 22. We don't know what happens with Joe afterwards. It's just we live the life to the fullest, and that's it. Like we don't know if he goes back to teaching. We don't know if he actually goes back to the jazz band with Dorothea. We don't know. We don't know anything about that. And I like this. I like the open endedness. Is like because like again, it's up to your interpretation of how you want to live your life to the fullest. It could be just appreciating the little things in life, or it could be going back to your job and appreciating your work. I mean, there's a lot you can do with it, and that's what I really appreciated overall as a conclusion. Yeah. Um.
so
Yeah.
out of curiosity, what you call oh, there's another thing. It's a small thing, but when 22 tries to when they try to get ready for the thing right before the this and she like messes his hairline up, and then they
Uh,
walk in the barbershop. He's like, I need to sit down, and he has the hat on. And he's like, no, and then he's like, you have to wait, and then he pulls his hat up, and like the whole
it's
barbershop.
emergency.
All right, it's hilarious because like I've experienced, as an African American male, and I go to a couple barbershops. I've definitely experienced stuff like that. Like my haircut's never been that bad, but I've definitely
Yeah.
experienced that stuff. So that would, yeah.
Yeah. Um.
So I guess my
But yeah.
question for you: do
Right.
you think what do you think happened after the last scene? Like when he just says, "Do you think he went back to like?" I know it's like open ended, but like in your
Yeah.
opinion, what do
Yeah.
you think?
I think he. I think he goes back to teaching. I yeah. I think I would agree with you. I think he goes back to teaching. I don't like. Some people said like maybe he goes to find 22. I don't really see the purpose of it, to be honest. Again, 22, if she is there, she would go back to as a baby. So,
She'd be a baby, yeah. So she wouldn't even know who he was, like because
yeah,
that's the whole thing is like once you become a person, you don't have like memories of like the soul world or whatever. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, uh, yeah. What else? The art. I mean, for Disney, I've said this every Disney movie I've done. Like, you expect the CGI, the art style, everything. You expect it to be top notch at this point. Like, Disney has the money. They get better and better every time. Uh, I just reviewed Toy Story like a few months ago, and just seeing like from 25 years how Pixar has changed from that amount of time is just nothing short of amazing in what they
yeah,
have done.
this I will say that of all the movies, maybe Coco is a little bit better, but the
Yeah,
soundtrack, it's like I
soundtrack is
know this
so
movie
good.
is centered around music, but it's like my mom was talking about it because my mom is from New York and she used to listen to jazz in like her 20s and 30s. So like she was like it's like so accurate. Like I know like Disney they bring in like the big bands and stuff like that, and they
Yeah,
have the recording, but it's like the soundtrack, like it like when he was playing piano, you would think somebody was playing piano down the hallway. Like that's how
right.
good like the actual like instruments were. And it's Disney, so like you expect that. And
Yeah,
again, the only thing I can maybe put up there with music caliber wise is maybe Coco, but
I
it's
think
like the
I
soundtrack.
think Coco is probably a little better, but like at least it's a little more memorable to me. But again, Soul's music was really good, and
Well, I
that
mean, to
that
be
montage
fair,
was. But again,
Coco,
it
they're
is.
like he's singing like he has
Yeah,
words, like there are words, like it's
I get it. I
like
get it.
this one is like mainly like instrumental. So
I mean, because like you know me, I don't really listen to like a lot of music like you do. Like I listen to more Disney soundtracks, personally, and yeah, I really like the soundtrack here. Uh, so yeah, I think their next Pixar movie is Buzz Lightyear: The Origin. I don't know if there's anything before that. I'll have to wait and see. Pixar
I,
Pixar has
I
had
don't
some.
know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I don't know about it. I mean, they love Toy Story. Listen. Oh yeah, like it was a little odd because like I don't know if you've ever been to like a Disney, like seeing Pixar in theaters. Usually they always have a Pixar short and then they show the Pixar film. So like I think Incredibles they had Bao. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so like usually they have those Pixar shorts. So it was a little odd for me. The first Disney movie that doesn't have a short, but again,
I mean, but like,
that's a
if you
small
think about
thing.
the if you think about the circumstances and like COVID and stuff like that,
Obviously, yeah,
like
yeah,
I definitely if you like Disney or Pixar or like if you like if you just like a wholesome movie, like I would even like because like this movie like again it like matters with death, it matters with life purpose. I feel like
yeah,
this is a must like it's a must watch. Like I like just to
yeah.
like the movie is
I think
after I watched it, I just
highly
felt good.
recommend.
Like I just
Yeah,
felt good after watching the movie. It wasn't even like I would like obviously I don't think it's the best Pixar movie, but it just made me feel good. Like
yeah. And after watching Wonder Woman, I mean, this was a good. It was a refreshing
yeah,
movie to watch.
see this. Like, I think it was actually worse because you saw Wonder Woman, so this was a reprieve. I saw this, and then I saw Wonder Woman later that
Then you
night.
saw,
So that
yeah,
Wonder Woman kind of ruined my night. I'm not gonna lie to you, but we move anyway.
it's a different topic. That's a different video for another day. Uh,
The link's gonna
yeah.
be in the description.
Again,
Soham has reviewed Wonder Woman 1984. The link will be in the description.
it will be.
Uh,
Dang, you're taking my job, I suppose. But yeah, Jamie Foxx did a really good job. Tina Fey, very good as well. Yeah, and they had there was a few jokes that I thought were pretty funny. Like the hippie guy.
yeah, and
Apparently,
his in his zone was spinning. He was spinning a
yeah,
sign on the corner. And
yeah,
then he
and
walked, and then Joe tries to find him, and then like his boss basically said, "We'll fire you" or something. That was hilarious, bro. Like, what do you?
yeah,
It wasn't hilarious.
uh,
Like, so again,
it
it
was
wasn't
fun. It was funny.
hilarious. It was comical, like, or it was humorous. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't like dumb funny. It was like like you get a chuckle. But like the movie wasn't supposed to be like a funny movie. I think so. I mean,
yeah.
it was funny.
Apparently, he was voiced by Graham Norton, the talk show host. I did not know that, but it
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
The
And
is that the English
there was
guy?
another there was another thing like the with the Jerry's like is like U10 go to anxiety and U15 go to self arrogance, and it's like and then the other guy is like we're putting too many people in that bubble. I don't know. I just find it funny because it's a kind of true if you think about it.
And you see
But
the
yeah,
thing where when I think it's one of the like the guy that's like counting the things is like he basically gets an award show and gives himself an award and
he
he's like,
gives
all right,
himself.
here's your award. And then because like he like so spoilers is
He was
like
trying to
he's kind of
catch
like
Joe.
he's like the antagonist in the movie to take him back to the great beyond. He's like a guy that counts all the souls that go in and out of like the great beyond or whatever. And like
Right.
basically he's kind of like an ass like he's not like an asshole, he's just doing his job. He's just kind of and
Right.
the thing is another thing is like I think it was like funny like how he's in the soul world, but he's so obsessed with the counting of the souls. Like kind of
Yeah.
like I thought it was like I thought it like paralleled how he's so obsessed with music, but like obviously this is like a soul, so it's like he's not really he doesn't really technically have like his spark in or whatever. But it's like he's so obsessed, and there's a joke
Yeah. Like
where he actually
literally, like you see him like going through every single file that's ever existed of souls. You're completely trying to find who the person that he was looking for. Yeah.
and you
And
remember when
mhm.
he gets in the wrong body at the barbershop, like because he's trying to
Yeah.
take, and then he's all like, "Oh, you're the wrong person. You're not supposed to join us for a couple." He's like, "For a lot more years, but if you keep on eating these trans fats, you're gonna be here." Like, so, he said something like that because the guy had like a bag of Cheetos, and then like
Yeah.
he jumps out of his body, and the guy's like shook, and like people in New York are just walking by because this is what my mom said. It's also funny because my mom said that when stuff happens in New York, people like walk by like nothing is happening. So he's
Yeah.
like he almost like died, and he throws the chat, like he throws the bag of like
Uh,
Cheetos at the
I have
trap.
a few stories on that, but that will be on the YB Entertainment's story time. Speaking of which, that channel will be in the works. So
Yeah,
be on
my
the
mom
lookout for that.
basically said like
Because
the
I have
utter.
my own stories with New York assholes. Let's just say that.
That's not, my mom didn't even say. My mom said it wasn't even
It's
New
not
York. Like
assholes. It's just New York
she said
behavior.
it's just how they go. It's like like my time. It's like everybody's time in New York is important. So it's like if I have to like watch you
Yeah.
freak out on the floor, I like it. That takes away from like whatever thing I'm trying to do. It's just like a really like I got to get mine type of. And I don't think that's an issue. Like a
Also,
get mine type
yeah.
of.
Also the subway as well. I mean, it's just the culture of New York. It's expected. I do like the attention to detail with everything about New York. And all that. We did talk about the Knicks. That was funny. And yeah. Yeah, highly recommend the movie. It's on Disney Plus. If you have Disney Plus, there's no additional payment. If you can watch it, watch it. I think it's worth your time. And yeah, thanks for watching. Shaq, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Uh, on Instagram, what is it? At DSG underscore Eddie. I'm gonna make a Twitter eventually. My Twitter got banned. That's on the YB podcast. You know why I got banned? If you watch the YB podcast, it's up there. I might talk about it again, but like yeah. So that's really it.
Yeah, and let me know in the comments down below on what you thought about Soul. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you feel mixed about it? Just let me know. And yeah. Thanks for watching. If you like movies, TV shows, comics, and video games, support the channel by clicking the like button, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Also, share the video and check out the YB podcast, where we talk basketball, movies, TV shows, and anything that comes to mind. Links in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.